Welcome back in. It's only been a handful of days, of course, since the news broke that Eli Gold would not be brought back as the voice of the Crimson Tide. Meanwhile, the man who will replace him is already familiar to Bama fans. Stewart joins us now live in studio. Good to see you.
Great to see you, Mike.
All right, good. Well, first of all, describe your emotions as this was all unfolding, because I imagine it put you in a very awkward position, publicly on how to respond to this, not to mention the fact that I know you were prepping for basketball broadcast.
Yeah, the day of the game is when I got the phone call that, hey, we're making the move and we want you to take over the spot. And look, I grew up listening to Eli. I've joked with him that first time we were on air together, I was 14 years old and I was answering a trivia question on TC and John Ed and won lunch for two at Malby's.
That's going back.
When Eli was their sports guy. So to have known of him most of my life and having followed his career and then having had a chance to work alongside him in different roles for 20 plus years with the network, I have great respect for him and his work. It's been the standard for years.
Well, and I will tell you, when he joined us for an interview last week, he expressed no animosity towards you. This is nothing personal between you. This is obviously a fallout between him and the Crimson Tide Sports Network. But so Wednesday was the first time you were made aware that there was going to be a change, because, or did you have some indications? As Eli said, there were indications that a change might happen. Right. Did you have any indication at all?
Well, I did not have the job until that day. I'll put it that way. I got a phone call and said, would you take the job? Did we all think that Eli may be near the end of his run? I think a lot of us did. But as far as having any clarification or definitive word, and certainly for it to be mine and for me to be next, I wasn't told that I was until that day.
For your sake, I don't know how much you're on social media. Did you stay off of it, though, for a couple of days?
A good bit. Look, I've had so many people, though, that have reached out to me, and there's always going to be some negative things. It doesn't matter how it's done. There's always going to be some negative. However, the amazing thing is getting about 600 plus text messages literally in a 48-hour window from people that I've known, have known me, different stages of my life, and that doesn't count social media messages. I understand the love, the admiration for Eli. That's quite understandable. As you said, I had nothing to do with his departure. I'm just grateful that I was asked to be next and to follow not just Eli, but men that I had the privilege of knowing and who held that seat before he did, in Paul Kennedy and John Forney. I'm unbelievably blessed to be next in that line, and I have a great responsibility to carry on the standard that each of those men did.
Now, for those who are not familiar, when Ray Perkins took over for Coach Bryant, John Forney, the longtime voice of the Tide back then, he was let go, eventually brought back under Bill Curry. But as you know, Paul Kennedy took over for a while, and he was a relative unknown from Vanderbilt. Do you feel like the fact that you have done baseball broadcasts, basketball broadcasts for years, and then was doing a full year when Eli was out,
right,
and then the away games last year, that you have had that chance to sort of endear yourself to Bama fans or maybe win them over?
Well, I'll let other people make that declaration. I just know that I've been a part of this a long time. It's not the first time I followed Eli. I followed him as the basketball announcer 22 years ago. He had held that role, and then you talk about being unknown. I came in from doing Birmingham Southern games. I was working with David Crane. I was his sidekick on baseball for 3 years, but was still doing Birmingham Southern basketball and some baseball as well. So at 32, 33 years old, and then following Eli on the basketball side of it, that was extremely intimidating. This has great responsibility, but it's an opportunity that I don't mean this in an arrogant way, but I feel like I'm more than prepared for. I've been a part of Alabama football broadcasts in one capacity or another since 1998. I did Coach Saban's television show for more than a decade. I did fill in and was given the privilege of being one of the two voices officially starting last year, or this past season, where we did the road games. So do I have the full-time role? Yes, and I understand and respect greatly the responsibility that I have and the men that had that responsibility before me, but it's not one that I'm intimidated by. It's one that I've prepared for There's a lot of sacrifices you make, and family has done the same thing, and I've had opportunities to go other places and never wanted to. This is home. This is where I wanted to be, and I'm very, very grateful I've been given that opportunity.
All right, Chris Stewart, the voice of the Crimson Tide, and by the way, a former WBRC Fox 6 Sports intern, which is what really launched his career. Thankfully for you, and fortunately for you, congratulations to that. I'm still mired in mediocrity.
Yes,
all right,
sure.
Chris Stewart, thank
Great
you so much, man.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you.
We'll take a break.